Settle gently into this moment, allowing the body to become heavy in the simplest way, as if gravity itself has softened its grip and is now guiding you down rather than pulling you. There is nothing you need to understand, nothing you need to remember, and nothing you need to do well. These ideas are not instructions. They are simply sounds and images passing by, like clouds moving slowly across a wide and patient sky. Tonight we begin with a quiet truth that lives beneath nearly every experience you have ever had. What you feel is shaped not only by what happens, but by what your mind expects will happen. Long before a sensation reaches awareness, your brain has already made a prediction. It predicts warmth or cold, comfort or tension, safety or alertness. These predictions are not deliberate thoughts. They are gentle guesses formed by memory, habit, and experience, whispered silently through the nervous system. This is why a familiar room can feel calming before you even notice why, and why a sudden sound can tighten the body before the mind has time to label it. The brain is always editing reality, smoothing some details, amplifying others, and quietly deciding what deserves attention. In neuroscience, this is sometimes described as the brain being less a passive receiver and more a storyteller, weaving incoming signals into a narrative that feels solid and real. And yet, that story is flexible. When expectation changes, sensation often follows. This is why belief can reduce pain, why reassurance can slow the heart, and why anticipation alone can cause the body to relax. In placebo studies, people experience genuine, physical relief from pills that contain no active medicine at all. Their bodies respond not to chemicals but to meaning. The nervous system hears the message. Help is coming, and adjusts itself accordingly. Muscles soften. Stress hormones decrease. Pain signals quiet. None of this is imaginary. It is measurable, biological, and deeply human. Even as you lie here now, your breathing is subtly influenced by what you expect this moment to be. If you expect rest, the breath tends to lengthen. If you expect effort, it shortens. You do not have to control it. The body listens without being told. Attention itself acts like a dimmer switch. When you focus closely on a sensation, it grows more vivid. When attention drifts, sensation fades into the background. This is why time seems to slow when you are bored and disappear when you are absorbed. The same mechanism shapes discomfort and ease. Pain feels sharper when watched closely, and softer when allowed to pass without resistance. This does not mean pain is all in the mind. It means the mind is part of the system that interprets and regulates it. The brain constantly balances incoming signals with prior beliefs, deciding how loudly to ring the alarm. When danger is expected, even neutral sensations can feel intense. When safety is expected, the same sensations are often filtered out entirely. Tonight, safety is the message. Not because anything special is happening, but because nothing is required of you. The absence of demand allows the nervous system to downshift. Heart rate gradually slows. Muscles release the effort they did not realize they were holding. The brain begins to move away from fast, problem-solving patterns and toward slower, more rhythmic activity. Thoughts may still appear, but they begin to feel farther away, less urgent, like sounds from another room. This is the natural rhythm of the mind when it is no longer being pushed. You might notice that the body feels slightly different when you stop checking on it. Heaviness may spread, warmth may drift, or there may simply be a quiet neutrality. All of these are signs that attention is loosening its grip. There is a simple but powerful idea hidden here. Awareness itself can be regulating. When you allow experience to unfold without correction, the brain receives the signal that things are acceptable as they are. Stress is often the result of constant internal adjustment, the effort to make experience different from what it is. Rest begins when that effort pauses. This is not something you force. It happens when the mind realizes it does not need to interfere. As these ideas drift through you, they do not need to settle or land. Let them pass like slow waves, rising and falling without direction. If you enjoy this gentle exploration of how the mind and body shape one another, you are warmly invited to subscribe to the Well Sleepy channel, a quiet place for soft science, calming narration, and peaceful journeys through the brain, the body, time, and space. Each video is created to be unhurried, ad-free, and designed for rest, learning, and letting go. And now, with no need to hold on to anything you've heard, allow the mind to continue slowing. As the body listens to the simplest message of all, this moment is enough, and rest is already underway. Without needing to change anything, simply notice that breathing is already happening for you. Air arrives, pauses, and leaves again, guided by rhythms far older than thought. You have been breathing since long before memory, and your body knows exactly how to continue. Tonight, the breath is not something to control or improve. It is simply something to accompany, like listening to a familiar melody that plays on its own. Beneath this gentle motion lies one of the most intimate conversations between mind and body, a dialogue carried not by words, but by chemistry, timing, and sensation. Each breath sends information through the nervous system, quietly telling the brain whether the world is safe, uncertain, or demanding attention. When it is slow and steady, the body begins to release effort. When breathing is shallow and fast, the body prepares for action. This is not a technique. It is a reflex shaped by evolution. Long, unhurried breaths stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest, digestion, and repair. Heart rate begins to settle. Blood pressure eases. Muscles receive the message that they no longer need to stay alert. Emotion, too, is deeply tied to this rhythm. Anxiety often arrives with tight breathing, while calm tends to unfold alongside a softer pace. This connection works in both directions. Emotions influence the breath, and the breath influences emotion. Neither is in charge. They move together like two currents meeting in a wide river. You may notice that as attention rests on the breath without trying to shape it, emotion often begins to smooth itself out, not because it is being fixed, but because it is being allowed. The nervous system responds well to permission. Much of modern stress comes from constant internal signals that something needs to be done, solved, or managed. When those signals pause, even briefly, the body takes the opportunity to recalibrate. Scientists sometimes describe this as vagal tone, a measure of how well the body can move between states of alertness and rest. A flexible nervous system is not one that is always calm, but one that can return to calm easily. Tonight, you are not training or improving anything. You are simply giving the system a moment of rest, and rest itself is informative. It teaches the brain that slowing down is possible. Over time, these moments shape baseline experience, making calm more familiar and stress less sticky. Emotion often feels overwhelming because it is interpreted as a problem rather than a signal. But emotions are messages, not commands. They rise, peak, and fall when given space. When the breath is allowed to remain natural, emotions tend to follow the same arc. They pass through rather than getting trapped. This is why gentle breathing is often used in moments of distress, not to suppress feeling, but to provide a steady background rhythm that the mind can lean against. Even now, as thoughts drift and attention softens, the breath continues its quiet work. Oxygen moves into the bloodstream. Carbon dioxide leaves. Cells receive what they need. None of this requires awareness. And yet awareness adds something subtle, a sense of companionship with the body. Instead of monitoring or correcting, you are simply present. That presence alone can be soothing. You may notice small sensations, air at the nostrils, movement in the chest or belly, the faint pause between breaths, or you may notice nothing in particular. Both are perfectly fine. There is no correct way to experience this. The nervous system responds not to precision but to gentleness. As this chapter drifts toward stillness, remember that rest is not an achievement. It is a return. If these calm explorations help you unwind, if you find comfort in learning that feels more like listening than studying, you are invited to subscribe to the Well Sleepy channel, where science meets softness and curiosity becomes a pathway to sleep. New journeys await, designed to ease the mind, calm the body, and make space for rest. And now, with no effort at all, allow the breath to continue on its own, carrying you quietly forward into deeper calm. As the night deepens, awareness naturally turns inward, not to examine or analyze, but simply to notice what is present without urgency. The body may feel heavy or light or somewhere in between. Sensations may drift in and out, changing without asking permission. Among these sensations, there is one experience that has shaped human life perhaps more than any other: pain. Pain feels solid and undeniable, and yet it is not a direct measure of damage. It is a message constructed by the brain, an interpretation designed to protect. This does not make pain imaginary. It makes it meaningful. The nervous system gathers signals from the body and combines them with memory, emotion, context, and expectation before deciding how strongly to respond. Two people can experience the same physical input and feel something entirely different. Even the same person can feel pain differently from one moment to the next. This flexibility reveals something quiet and powerful. Perception is not fixed. The brain constantly edits sensation, adjusting volume based on what it believes is happening. In moments of fear, pain is amplified. In moments of safety, it often softens. This is why athletes can continue through injury during competition, only to feel pain later when the context changes. The brain decides when pain is useful. Belief plays a central role in this process. When you believe something will hurt, the brain prepares for threat. Muscles tense. Attention narrows. Pain signals grow louder. This is known as the nocebo effect, the opposite of placebo, where negative expectations increase discomfort. Again, this is not imagination. It is biology responding to meaning. The brain is always asking a simple question: how much should I protect right now? Tonight there is no need for protection. The body is still. The environment is quiet. Signals of danger are absent. As these conditions settle in, the brain gradually lowers the volume on unnecessary alarms. You may notice that areas of tension begin to fade when they are not being checked or judged. This does not happen through effort. It happens through trust. When attention rests without trying to change sensation, the brain receives the message that monitoring is no longer required. Over time, this reduces the loop of tension and vigilance that keeps discomfort alive. Emotion and pain are closely linked. Stress often magnifies physical sensation, while calm reduces it. This is because both use overlapping neural pathways. When stress hormones are high, the nervous system becomes more sensitive. When they fall, thresholds rise. Breathing slows, heart rate eases, and pain perception often follows. Awareness itself can be analgesic. Simply noticing sensation without labeling it as good or bad reduces reactivity. This has been observed in mindfulness research.